So do you have any intentions for this conversation today? We talked about it a little bit last time.
Yeah, I think that I'll just allow whatever wants to come through me to come through me and trust that it lands with the right people at the right time.
That's a good intention.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. So a little background information. You and I met in Chiang Mai
Yes, Chiang Mai.
the yeah last winter, December 2023.
Yep. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like winter though, did it?
What?
It didn't feel like winter.
No, not at all. At
No.
least not a Norwegian or English winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were at Rod's Qigong place in Chiang
Yeah.
Mai. And we hung out at a few cafes, you and me and my girlfriend.
Hmm.
So yeah, we started talking a little bit about your journey and my journey,
Yeah.
and we seem to have like some things in common
Hmm.
with things we have explored. So I would love to hear a little bit about like how you came to where you are now, how your journey started.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, thanks for having me on and thanks for the invite. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Um, yeah, I remember our chats that we had in Chiang Mai, and yeah, we're definitely resonating on similar levels.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, what got me into all of this? It was always coming. I think even when I was younger, I was always questioning why are things the way they are. I just didn't have a lot of support in that. It
Mm,
wasn't always welcome, the questioning. It
yeah,
was more about just following the rules and doing what you're told.
yeah.
I think most of us can resonate with that. But it wasn't until I was about 6 years into living in London, and I was living in a very stressful job that I actually stayed with for about 8 years. And the first few years, I was kind of unconscious to the fact that I was in a job that was very stressful, very detrimental to my health. Um, and I wasn't enjoying it in any way. I hated it.
Yeah.
And I slowly woke up to the fact that wait a minute, I'm doing something that I probably shouldn't be doing here. And I started to look at why I'm doing it, and I realized I was just following the rules again, doing what I thought was I was meant to do in life.
Yeah.
I also realized that I didn't really have very strong boundaries, and so I wasn't getting treated particularly well by one of my managers, and it was a very toxic work environment.
Mm.
There was a lot of like backstabbing and bitching, and it wasn't it wasn't very nice. And on top of that, I was doing an awful amount of drugs and alcohol every weekend
Mm.
to kind of forget about the week. So I was on that cycle. I'm sure most people can
So
relate
like
to it.
almost the normal life. In other words,
Basically, I was living a normal life.
yeah, yeah,
I was just a normal dude
yeah,
getting smashed up and yeah, not really enjoying the week, I guess. I started getting into Joe Rogan podcasts. I guess I did a few yoga classes. I went to those sensory deprivation tanks.
yeah,
And interestingly, the thing that really snapped me out of it was smoking a blunt, which I'd never done before. And I wasn't smoking weed in London at all.
yeah,
But me and a friend rolled a blunt. So it was like a pure weed, and we smoked the whole thing. And it was meant to happen. I went on the train. We went on the train during rush hour, and I was just sat
yeah,
there looking at everyone I think it was on their way home from work, just such depressed looks on their faces. and I like really got to step away from it and see it for what it was. There was this like heavy energy. Um, yeah, and I was just realized that I was a part of this thing that I didn't want to be a part of. And
Yeah.
then that was the thing that were really laid that sort of seed in my head to like, okay, I've got to change. I can't carry on like this.
How old were you when you smoked that blunt? About?
I'm 43 now. I would say I was probably early 30s, somewhere around 33,
Yeah, so this started
34.
in your early 30s.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you and me are the same age. Are you 82 or 81?
82. Yeah, 82.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
man.
yeah. But I think that's really like that happens to a lot of people around 30 years old.
Yeah.
That they like get this shift in life.
Yeah.
Either you continue with like the normal family life, the normal work life, like just following the tracks,
Hmm.
or something totally different happens. Like people get the burnouts and they like need to reconsider the life, their like
Hmm.
fundamentals in life, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Some people, I mean, I was in Thailand last year and I met people in their early 20s.
yeah,
I think now people are being raised with with these mindsets more and more.
yeah. More like questioning everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you've got parents that are like that, I mean, if
yeah,
I had a kid, I would be
yeah,
training him or her to question
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Don't just go with what I say.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's a big difference between like our generation and like the 20 years generation now.
Yeah.
Like how they look at life, how they look at like work. They've actually started something here in Norway that when people get like sick leave, the companies like question like the legitimacy of the like sick leave. So like people don't like because so many people call in sick.
Mm,
So like 10 years ago, like if you called in sick, like everyone like, oh sure, okay, you get your days off. But now like the companies start to question if people actually are sick.
mm.
So that's something new that's going on here.
Right. So, so just questioning staff as to the legitimacy of their why they're
Yeah.
okay, and that's not something you could have done in the past.
I think you could have done it, but it's not was not common at all.
Okay.
But like right now, it's like pretty common actually,
Right.
because like
Mm.
so many young people call in sick and maybe older
Yeah.
people as well. Like so, like there's like try to do something about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way things are with mental health, that is a reason. That's a reason that people have now, isn't it? So if you get a question, you could just say anxiety.
Yeah, yeah.
But are you saying that companies will question into about the anxiety and want to find
Yeah,
out?
they will actually like question the doctor if the doctor like have given the
Ah,
sick leave in a legitimate reasoning.
right.
Like they get a second opinion to like
Ah,
question the sick leave, yeah, the reasoning behind it.
hmm.
So
Interesting.
I have never heard about that before.
No, no, me neither.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening here or not.
yeah,
It wouldn't surprise me.
yeah,
Companies are because I've looked into bringing my work to corporates
yeah,
and just in the UK alone. I wish I could remember the stat. It was around, I think it's like 55 billion pounds is lost every year to stress and
yeah.
mental health issues. That's just mental health.
How many pounds?
55 billion.
Yeah, I think in Norway there's $1 billion just depression alone.
Right, just in depression.
$1 billion.
Wow. That's your long winters.
Yeah, maybe, and that's like only 5 6 million people as well.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I think like 1 out of 5 people in Norway get like a depression they need to treat during
Mm.
life, like 20%.
Right, wow. That's a big number.
Yeah,
That is a big number.
yeah. So like depression is an that's an epidemic
Yeah.
worldwide, really.
Yeah, definitely, man. 100%. I don't
Yeah,
think our digital distractions are helping with that.
No, not at all. It's not good. It's not good for the brain, you know.
No,
Like
it's really not.
distractions all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's can I swear on this podcast? Like I keep
Swear as much as you
fair
will.
way, yeah.
Yeah.
It just yeah, it's fucking our brain chemicals, it's fucking our nervous system.
Yeah.
It's putting us into continuous states of stress, which is depression is a result of stress,
Yeah.
stress in the nervous system.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean, it does a lot of good as well. We wouldn't be having this chat, for example, if it wasn't for technology. Like, I'm not against
Yes.
technology. It's just,
Yeah.
you
I was
know.
thinking about this before we started the podcast that 1,000 years ago, you and me would probably fight with an axe.
Yeah.
Axe
You would
and a
have
long. You would have a
come,
longbow, and I would have an axe.
yes, I would have hopefully taken you out before you got to my wife and kids.
Maybe.
Although,
But now we'll have a chat instead over a
well,
podcast.
we've got similar looks, so I
Yeah.
might, if you guys were winning, I might have like just put on a Viking robe and pretended I was a Viking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
just got away
Yeah.
with it, maybe.
So that's probably some progress there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy though. So
Yeah.
true. We're
Yeah.
just a product of our environment, right? We're these two guys that are nice and we're polite guys, right?
Mm.
We're loving dudes. We do what we think is right. But if
Mm.
we were born a few hundred years ago, we could be vicious killers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just based on the environment that we grew up in.
Yeah, I also think like it's a choice we make. Like if we want to be like aggressive and violent, or we
Hmm.
want to be like open and loving. It's also a
It's
also a
choice.
choice.
Mm.
At least in the modern world,
Mm.
we can like choose to act on or like anger, aggression, violence, like verbal violence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or we can choose to be like, yeah, polite, kind people
Yes.
and like helping people.
Yes. I think I agree with that, but for a lot of people, it feels like they have no control, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about this work is like uncovering how much control we actually have of our internal world,
Yeah.
because that's where our expressions come from, right? From within.
Yeah.
And it can seem like people who are maybe overly angry or overly afraid are just reacting to the world around them, and therefore it's easy to blame situations, environments,
Mm.
family, governments for
Mm.
how they're feeling. Past
Mm.
traumas,
Mm.
it's all valid,
Mm.
but I've noticed that there comes a point when if you really want to change things around, it's involves taking responsibility for those whatever we're going through in life.
Yeah.
Even though there was a time where we were innocent and young and we had no control, and we're kind of living out the pain of the past, there's still that is a choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We can attach to the pain, we attach to the past, and then that's our expression in the now as a result of everything that's happened.
Mm.
But when things I feel really start turning around is when people are like, okay, I'm creating all of this. Do I really want to be living out my past?
Mm.
Or am I prepared to let it go? Just drop it as best I can and just start creating something new. And for a lot of people, they don't even want to, if you even mention that, they'll get offended and they don't want to,
Mm.
because they feel like they have no control.
Mm.
And we don't
So,
get taught. Yeah.
so what are your perspectives on like dealing with internal pain? Like instead of like acting that pain out in like aggression, violence, stuff like that, like how to
Mm,
deal with that internal pain and try to like transform that maybe into something else.
yeah. Um, but feel like it has to start with presence
Mm.
because really, it's when we're reactive to the world. So something happens in the world around us and we react to that, right?
Mm.
We're essentially we're giving our power away to that thing. I mean, let's use Donald Trump as an example.
Mm.
How many people right now are going through internal anger and frustration because of him? And they're giving their power, they give so much of their power away. They don't think they see like
Mm.
it's every day they're getting more and more like triggered, and it's
Yeah.
like it's stressing out their internal system. I mean, it's crazy, and people think that that's the right reaction to have, because if they don't, then it shows that they don't care
Yeah.
or that they're a bad person.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, if you want to make positive changes to the world, really, we've got to find some level of calm within and then make changes. But
Mm.
making changes from our pain only gets us so far.
Yeah.
But I kind of went off track a bit there. Bringing it back, when we get reactional to the world, I feel we're losing presence. So we lose our presence and then we react and then we get angry and we get stressed and then the energy heads up into our head where all the stories are and we're just more angry and rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
But when we can become present, we can we realize that our reaction to the world isn't because of the world, it's just because of our we lost our presence and we allowed ourselves to react.
Yeah.
And then when we bring presence into the body, which is like embodiment for me is the best way to find presence. When we're present, we can't really have problems, right? The stories, the past traumas, the limiting beliefs, the identities we've got that are keeping us in loops of whatever's going on in life that's not serving us.
Mm.
It's all coming from up here. When
Mm.
we're present that and just in the moment, there can't really be any problems unless something really bad's happening in the moment, I guess.
And I also think like the world can be so seductive, like anger, controversy, sexuality,
Yeah.
violence. It can be like you can be so dragged into this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it can like raise up maybe anxiety, anger inside the body. And
Mm.
instead of being able to be authentic in your like own emotions, you like maybe
Mm.
act it out. And maybe we like touch upon like the vulnerability aspect there.
Mm.
Or like if you like experience something in the world that is like anxiety provoking, it's like easy to be like defensive, aggressive, stuff like that, instead of just like staying in that emotion,
Yeah.
in presence, and
Yeah.
allowing that energy to like just process in the body.
Mm.
But it's like it takes some like presence power somehow.
Sure.
Because like if it's too much chaos, it's like it can be so overwhelming, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like maybe what we then we can probably like get into like maybe what trauma is when it's like too overwhelming that you need like
Mm.
support to stay present
Yeah.
in the emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the trauma can really take us out of our presence.
Yeah.
I know that for sure in my own life as well. And times, I mean, God, when, I mean, let's get real, right? We're born into societies that don't promote emotional healing
Yeah.
and kind of promote emotional suppression. Like we need to suppress emotions in order to fit into our societies and families and everything else. So we're doing it for survival. We suppress so much. When we look at a baby, there's full emotional expression, right?
Mm.
That's its survival mechanism. It needs to express all that. I mean, you cut that off, it's just going
Mm.
to explode. I mean, it has to let it all out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we grow older, we develop all these patterns where we hold on to that emotion. We think it's going to hurt too much, or we hold our breath and we brace down, or we get taught that certain emotions aren't allowable or they're bad, and then we hold
Yeah.
them down. And then we go to school and then we get taught different ways of suppressing certain emotions, and then we're in these sort of neat little boxes as adults where
Yeah.
our bodies want to do so much, but
In the
we
cubicle.
yeah, yeah, like with the mental prison, right? That
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
why was I talking about that? I
Yeah, but
can't.
that's a great theme, like in a society that doesn't promote the healing aspect of like
Yeah,
that doesn't account for like the emotional needs of the human being.
yeah,
Because as you said, we get taught to like when we're allowed to like be sad, when we're not allowed to be sad, when we're allowed to like express ourselves, and you're like, shh, shh, don't be too loud and don't cry,
yeah.
and like all those things, like for years and years and years and years.
Years, man.
And I think like that's of course a part of being like cultured in the society, but
Mm,
we also need like spaces where it's possible for like expression, releasing the body, releasing energy, all those things. I think it's
mm.
very, very important.
100%,
And
man.
like all the
So
creativity
important.
and power that is in that energy as well.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Yeah, it's desperately needed. Desperately needed.
So,
I
so,
I I th could be wrong, but I think that you guys might have more access to that in Scandinavia or just in Norway than we do in England, although England is changing. I
yeah, more
feel like
like liberal, running around naked and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Your sauna and ice baths, and you've got the space and the land, and you've got that kind of Viking spirit, I guess.
Yeah,
Whereas when we look at England,
yeah,
we've got this sort of like royal, more Victorian area where, like it's all like hard wooden furniture, elbows in when you eat, stiff upper lip.
yeah,
Um, just it's like this
yeah.
continuous state of trauma. When you look at these people, they're basically so traumatized. That's what it is,
Uh,
and you're born into that. You're gonna get
and then you are a
traumatized.
good citizen.
Yeah. Then you get
You are applauded for
the
that.
idea of love. It's crazy, and I see it in like kids. Because I see families that are like that, and the kids are just like getting more and more unreal and inauthentic, and they're
Yeah,
just falling into this thing, and it's like, whoa, they're not happy. There's no love, no true love there at all. Um, yeah, and we're a kind of the England is kind of still influenced by that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I got that expression, impression as well. Maybe like especially in like the upper classes in England, where there's
Mm,
money and they're like the facade and like all those things. But it's
absolutely.
probably also a big difference in England, like in the south, in the north, like Manchester, Newcastle. You have like a big variety of cultures in, of course, in England.
Yes, very big.
And you live down in the south, right, in
I'm
Brighton.
in on the south coast in Brighton, yeah.
That's like San Francisco, right?
Yeah, you could say it's the San Fran of Brighton,
Yeah,
although it's nothing like San Fran, but
yeah. It's like a liberal area.
liberal, it's
Yeah,
the gay community and art and culture and yeah, that kind of thing, yeah.
yeah, like alternative scene and
Yeah,
music
alternative
and
scene, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's cool, man.
yeah. So like a little bit back to your like story. So how did you like first start to like unravel your journey when you were like in your 30s? What did
Well,
you like? Because in my journey, I just explored like hundreds of things in the beginning,
yeah.
and I kind of like found my path after a while.
Hmm. Interesting. Similar to you, really. Yeah, it was like I mean, the thing. So I left London and I went to Thailand and learnt Muay Thai kickboxing
Oh,
for
really?
about 3 months and trained under this really like famous pro fighter in Thailand. So I got quite fit and I started reading books on spirituality, and I had this calling to do ayahuasca. I was like constantly like had this thought I've got to do ayahuasca, and I was afraid of doing it. And then I came back to the UK, and soon after getting back, I did that, and it kind of that it gave me it was a funny experience really. Like the first couple of times I did it, it was really just more of an experience, like just having a bit of a psychedelic experience. So I didn't really understand what was going on. Um, but it being in a community of people and working on myself and being open about these things with people was it was kind of the first time I got to experience that. So
Yeah.
that was quite a change for me.
Yeah. Mm.
The what really I was more focused on when I was doing this work back then was my relationships with women because I'd had um a lot of issues when it came to dating and relationships and sex. I wasn't very confident in that area. I didn't have many boundaries. I didn't know what it was I wanted. I was quite needy. So I discovered this thing called pickup where you go out on the street and
Yeah.
stop women and
Mm.
try and chat them up essentially. And I was so focused on getting good at that that was really all of my self-development work was focused on trying to like attract women essentially,
Yeah.
which turned into burnout. I got burnt out for doing that. Um
Were you into like the game and mystery and Neil
yeah,
Strauss and all that
all
stuff?
of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, I mean, it served its purpose. I understand why people don't like it, and I don't ever recommend it to my clients to do. However, to be a man who can go about his life and when he sees a woman or man, but I'm going to say woman in this instance because that, you know, who I'm into, to see a woman and to go up to have the confidence and the courage to go up to her and just say hi and
Yeah.
introduce yourself. It's it's just an expression of being a confident man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in order to get there, you've got to do some stuff to try and get to that position where, and that's what pickup was about. But
Yeah.
pickup wasn't about that. Pickup was just about getting numbers, getting dates, how many, lays you could get, and it was um, all done inauthentically. So if you had approached a woman and been your true self, being totally authentic with how you felt, and you had a beautiful connection, and that connection lasted for maybe half an hour when you were chatting, and then you said goodbye and never saw each other again, yet that experience lit you both up. That was a fail, according to pickup.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you had got her number, went on a date, had sex, and had no interest in each other, and woke up in the morning feeling a bit depleted and down from the whole experience because you just shared intimate moments with someone you weren't into, success.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was what was wrong with all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I realized that and then stopped it. And then it was more about doing the inner work to uncover where it is I'm pushing away experiences and learning to connect with myself so I can connect deeper with other people and enjoy relationships more and
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, I think that's of course very fundamental to be in touch with oneself, one's like authenticity.
Yeah,
Because
man.
if you don't have connection with yourself, you of course you can't have connection with anyone else. Of
Yeah.
course, because
Yeah.
you're just acting out of like some other like impulses or like tendencies.
That's it,
Like
man.
like the ego stuff, like you want to be like this, you want to impress him or her, or like blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But if
Yeah.
you get like more like connection with your own purpose, your own meaning, your own like authentic feelings,
Mm.
thoughts, ideas, all those kind of stuff,
Mm.
then you start to become like an interesting, really interesting person, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And then you can like create interesting relationships with other people because they can sense that you are authentic, like
Yeah.
you're a real person.
Yeah.
You're like not just like a talking mouth, but
Yeah,
you are a real person with your own like feelings, thoughts, ideas, perspectives, experiences.
yeah,
Yeah, all those things. But
definitely.
of course, I think also as you are mentioning, like there is also like this fear of being oneself, the fear of being authentic, like the fear of like showing the world who you are.
Mm,
And that's like of course I can like also feel that a little bit with podcast, like because it's like a very exposing thing to do,
mm,
to like talk on camera, talk on microphones, but it's like in the same time it's like very good exercise in just like exposure and like just
yeah.
so how did you like you talk about pickup, but like and I think also like the ayahuasca, just the environment with the people,
Mm,
at least for me, just to like be in that environment with so much different people, open people,
mm,
people that were like thinking outside the box,
yeah,
that also like opened up like
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like the ayahuasca is one thing, but like the environment also, because it's
100%.
such a different social environment.
Yeah. Yeah, because prior to that, you have all these thoughts that are going on in your head around questioning the way things are and talking about your inner world. And then you try and bring that up with people that aren't into that sort of thing. And these are like friends or family members that you're very, very close with, and they react badly to it.
Mm,
You just quickly learn you got to contain that and hide that.
mm,
And then you're hiding a beautiful, expressive part of who you are in order to maintain safety,
mm,
because it doesn't feel safe when we trigger other people.
mm,
So we have to contain our inner, our so outward expressions and not talk about the things we really want to talk about because we don't want to trigger the emotions of other people, which
mm,
is something we learned long ago. It's to
mm.
like we chose connection over authenticity.
Yeah, that's a very good phrase, of course. Like
Hmm.
connection over authenticity.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
if you know if you like if you're too authentic, people won't like be able to tolerate it, and they just choose to like just dismiss.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get dismissed, right?
yeah, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I learned that from Gabor Mate.
yeah,
So we're born with two core needs, authenticity. When I talked about the baby with the emotional expression, right? Baby
yeah,
feels anger, it's angry, it feels sad, it feels joy, it's joyful. That's authenticity.
yeah,
It's actually confidence. It's our natural confident self of just being authentic.
yeah.
And then eventually, so that authenticness, that expression, mum and dad can still like look at us and be like, oh, isn't that cute? Baby's a bit angry. Oh, like still remaining open and loving.
Yeah.
But when that baby's 3 years old and there's some words behind the anger and
Mm.
there's more physicality in legs and arms that can
So,
do stuff.
some uncomfortable words that are
Yeah.
very
Yeah. Are mum
yeah,
and dad going to be open to that? Or are they going to
yeah,
shut down the heart connection in order to punish the behavior?
yeah.
And then that feels unsafe to the child. Now there's like a split in the psyche. It's like, okay, when I'm angry, I lose connection to mum and dad. But
Mm.
when I'm nice and do what I'm told and I'm
Yeah,
pleasing, connection. Okay. And
yeah,
so we always choose connection over the authenticity because it's more important for our survival needs.
yeah. And that's like also a very like core fear to be like pushed out of the group, right? To be
Yeah, man.
not accepted by the group. That's like that a very fundamental fear.
Yeah.
Because like back in the days, that was death, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. I
Yeah,
felt it a year ago. Last year, I was going through a lot of shit. Around, I wanted to be doing what I'm doing now, like the videos on YouTube and everything else, but I wasn't
yeah,
doing it. I was so afraid of what people were thinking of me. I just
yeah.
couldn't do it. And I can't remember what happened, but I accessed this courage to I accessed this power. It was like an internal power where I was truly free to do and say whatever I wanted. and I wrote a post on Facebook from feeling that energy,
Mm.
and this terror came up in me. It was like I felt it from the ground, like coming up, and it was this fear that I was going to be ostracized and
Yeah.
cast out,
Yeah.
to the point where it instantly overpowered the the freedom that I was experiencing. And
Yeah.
like I went back to like little old me,
Wow, that's
this
interesting.
safety and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really feel that, I mean, for those of us who are on this path doing the spiritual work, the inner work, it well, I think we're all afraid of our power.
Mm.
I truly do. Because if power comes from within, it comes from not being attached to the world. This knowledge goes back thousands of years, right? We're detaching from the world and coming into our body where we give ourselves what we're trying to get from the world.
Mm.
And when we're truly free, I mean, we're all raised and we're all built to follow the rules and fit in and not trigger others around us. When you start tapping into your authenticity and your power, you're going to trigger others. You
Mm.
have to. You can't not,
Mm.
especially those that you've known for so long, because
Mm.
they're used to you and being a certain way. And then now you're like becoming energetically bigger. You're speaking your truth more. You might pull up one of your friends. If they said something you don't appreciate, you're more likely to say something because you're not afraid of the confrontation.
Mm.
You might just seem a little brash and your friends might think that you're trying to show off, or that you're boasting or trying to make yourself out to look cool, and then you might get told, oh, you've changed,
Mm.
you're not yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, I'm, just growing is triggering to others. And then it's kind of like the crabs in a bucket scenario where one crab climbs up the bucket, and the other crabs pull the crab down in their
Yeah.
attempt to climb up.
Yeah.
And that's how I saw it. And then I realized, well, it's not like the people around us are purposely trying to bring us down. They're just reacting to the shit that they've got within them.
Mm.
But it's not, if we get more powerful and more authentic and we trigger those around us and then we drop back down, it's easy to blame the people around us. But that's giving our power away again. We're saying that people around the people around us who are getting triggered by our power, it's because of them that I can't get more power. No, that's just another attachment. We're just bring it back and take ownership. Oh, I put myself back into the bucket
Mm. Mm.
because I still got work to do.
Yeah, that's responsibility again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
bring it back all the time. Oh, it's their fault. Oh, it's his fault. It's
Yeah.
media, war,
Yeah.
whatever. Like it's all giving our power away.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
We can respond to the world or react.
Yeah. It's really interesting when you talk about like that emotional state when you feel like so free and so powerful, and how one can like keep that state, and like you can see so many possibilities. Like, yeah, I can do that. I can make that podcast. I can make that
Yeah.
website. I can, yeah, yeah, of course, of course, of course. And like maybe something happens, and you can like notice that energy like dips a little bit, or maybe you're tired or whatever, and then you can like work back to like a more open, energetic, like empowering place again. I
Hmm.
think for me, for the last like 15 years, I think like the breathing practices has been like
Nice.
really good to like get to like consciously get me back into like a more open, energetic, powerful
Nice.
state.
Yeah. What sort of breath work do you do?
It's like almost like holotropic breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
like
don't.
big breaths into the mouth, kind of
Yeah,
charging
yeah,
the
yeah.
body.
Basically, it's like just deep breathing with like a maybe a bit quicker pace, like deep breathing, release, and just like keep that going, keep that going, keep that going.
Hmm.
And after a while, like the body just takes over.
Yeah.
and you get out of like this everyday mind,
Mm.
like all that, like I have to do this, I must, what did blah 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 blah.
Mm.
You get out of this type of mind, and like the more ideas come out, come into the body relaxes.
Yeah.
So I can like breathe myself into this kind of state, which is very helpful.
Mm. That's great, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you
yeah,
can like access creativity and
yeah,
more flow states and things like that.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah. I did a breathwork course in Thailand.
yeah.
So I'm just completing my certificate now. So I'll be like a certified breathwork facilitator.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
What
it's powerful.
what tradition is that, or what lineage is it?
Um, Rebirthing was the main one.
Okay.
Uh, Rebirthing and shamanic
Yeah,
breathwork.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's conscious connected breathwork essentially,
yeah,
which is what holotropic is a part of, right? It's just
yeah.
done in a different way.
Yeah, so
So
it's also like the focus, like staying present in the body,
yeah,
mindfulness, like accepting, letting go, releasing, just
yeah,
release. And like it's typical if I haven't done it in a while, like the surface stress is
mm,
coming up very fast, like
mm,
very in the beginning of the breathing. And I just like have to accept that, release that, breathe through it, maybe for like
yeah,
15 minutes, and then like I shift into a different state and I go like deeper and deeper and deeper into that
definitely.
breathing state.
Yeah, man. I think our lifestyles, we carry our lifestyles on the surface a lot. Like the stress of work, all the stuff going on, the stimulants, the sugar, the coffee, the
Yeah.
scrolling on the phones,
Yeah.
the alcohol, the hangover, the bad food, all of it. And when you do breath work and you're living that kind of lifestyle, I mean, you can just people like just lose their shit. Yeah, just like completely just gone crazy
Yeah, it
because
comes
there's just so much stuff that
yeah, it comes to the
they're not.
surface, you're right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So so what are you like into these days? What is all of your focus areas when you're working with the grounding practices and
Yeah, man.
yeah, because you are like found that very helpful, the grounding
Yeah,
practices. Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
attended one of your workshops maybe 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, how was that?
I think it's really good, like how we used our attention, like following the energy in the body, in the feet,
Yeah.
and you can like I can sense like a shift in the group just after a
Mm.
few minutes
Yeah.
when you like start a practice and everyone like gets into their body, like shakes out the
Yeah.
stress, and like it's like a shift at once.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shift that
It like calms down the energy
sure.
in the like group
Yeah, definitely.
very quick.
Yeah. I think like when you first arrive at a workshop in person or online, there's a lot of head activity.
Yeah,
There's a lot of thoughts, a lot of patterns are coming up. We're in a group now, people watching me. Am I going to have to say something?
yeah, yeah,
What we're going to do? Like,
yeah, yeah,
so that can bring a lot of kind of ungrounding and just excessive thinking. And then a few simple exercises is all you need to just calm that down a bit,
yeah,
which naturally gets us into our bodies where we can do some work, do more of the deeper work.
yeah.
When you look at the like the origins of yoga and Tai Chi, Qigong, all of them. When I say origins, like the very early stages of their practices, it was to come out of fight or flight, come out of survival, and then you can do the work.
Mm,
But going into it, trying to do Qigong or yoga in order to sort of awaken ourselves from survival and stress is like, it's just a no-go. Don't do it.
mm,
Focus on de-stressing, coming out of survival, and then you're free to do the spiritual work or the inner work. But we
mm,
don't do that these days. Most people are trying to do most people are, who take ayahuasca are totally living in survival, and I don't see it. helping a lot of people. It didn't help me when I started having heavy experiences because of the stress. So
Okay.
yeah, the a big part of the work that I do is like teaching people how to come out of stress because we're not taught this.
Mm.
Stress is responsible for I believe more than 75% of all doctor visits. So you think how much medication is prescribed because of stress when
Mm.
it's not, when if the person wasn't stressed, then that wouldn't need to have been prescribed and sold. I mean, stress is responsible for a lot when we get real about it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and in order to be happy in life, we can't be stress and happiness just can't really go together. At least that's how I see these things. And you're welcome to challenge me on anything. Because when we're in stress, we're essentially in survival mode, which means our sympathetic nervous part, the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system is being fired up, right? So we're in survival, our energy's up in our head, we're looking for something that might go wrong, we're listening out for a threat. In those moments, you can only experience the survival emotions, and they are anger, fear, lust, pride, apathy. All of these emotions are designed for our survival. They're not designed for thriving, for feeling good, for creativity, for love. Because if we're under threat for thousands of years, we're living in a tribe. If you're under threat of your life's in any form of danger, you don't want to be hanging around feeling good
Yeah.
painting.
Mm. And
Yeah,
it's probably also like the modern life. We have to interact with so many like people we don't know.
yeah,
Like just like in the store and at the subway and in the work. We like we
mm,
this is not like really natural for us. Like if you just go back a few hundred years,
yeah,
we stayed with like the same people or family or town maybe or
yeah,
village, and we were like basically in the same social environment where we knew the
yeah,
people, we knew what we were working with, we had way more like security in our
yeah,
like immediate surroundings.
yeah,
But like the modern world, there is so much changing. Like it's the new app, it's the new program, it's the new this,
yeah,
like, and it's reorganizing at work and blah 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 blah. And like these things, like the interest go up, it goes down, and like there's so many
mm,
like factors that's
so many.
outside of our like control.
Yeah,
So of course that creates stress.
yeah,
Of course it does.
yeah, of course, man. Yeah, and we're not taught how to um regulate our nervous systems out of fight or flight and into like rest and digest.
Yeah.
We're not taught that. I mean, like how crazy is that?
Mm,
When you really look into it, you're like, school didn't taught this one simple tool
mm,
that can change the entire world and allow our societies to function in very healthy ways.
mm,
It's the stress that is responsible for all the bad stuff that's happening, everything.
mm.
And we're not taught how to come out of stress because when we're not stressed, we can feel good. Why are we going after our goals? It's got to be to feel good.
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of insane. I mean, when we were babies, our parents' job really was just to regulate us. We need a safe baby, so you have to feel safe. When
Mm,
you're stressed, you don't feel safe. So if you're stressed at work, you could say, "Oh, I don't feel unsafe." Well, yeah, consciously you know you're not in any danger, but unconsciously your unconscious mind thinks you're in a lot of danger. That's why you're stressed. Your body's reacting to feel a threat,
mm,
even if it's just seems like a little thing, right? So unconsciously, your mind and body doesn't feel safe. So as a baby, our parents' job is to bring us back to safety, always bring us back. Because when we're in safety, we can properly regulate our emotions and life's better for mum and dad and the family, right?
yeah.
But mum and dad weren't taught how to regulate their stress. So they're trying to de-stress the kids from their own stress nervous system.
Yeah.
And as kids, we're not doing what we're told, we're doing what we learn by osmosis, if that's the right word.
Mm,
So mum and dad can really only regulate us when they're regulated.
mm,
They weren't told how to regulate.
mm.
They don't know. They're just trying to like, shut up, stop crying. Ah.
Yeah.
More the stress.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
creating more of it. So we're
Yeah.
never taught this one tool. Not only that, the autonomic nervous system, which is where we get the sympathetic and the different states, the different fear states, and the relaxed state. The word autonomic implies it's involuntary.
Mm,
So there's a message within that saying you can't even change stress.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like it seems a
mm,
bit crazy
mm.
because you can. It can be fairly, we can regulate stress and we can control it.
Absolutely.
We get
And I,
told we can't.
and I also think like these stress states is like almost a little bit addictive. Like because
Yes.
the body and the brain is so used to being like in this mode of functioning, like the
Yeah.
speed and like the nervous system. So it's like
Yeah.
it is almost difficult to let go of it
Yeah.
because it's somehow like an unknown state. Like
Yeah.
what is this comfortable, relaxing way of being?
Yeah.
Let's get back to the stress stuff, you know. So I
Definitely,
think
man.
so. It's like I think it can be like resistance to like going into relaxing as well,
I totally I buy into that, man. Yeah.
and it's
And
really
this,
fun. Yeah, sorry, just continue.
well, yeah, I think there's judgments towards it as well. Um, and what was I going to say? I also think that because like child, a childhood is traumatizing, right? We all, you're easily spooked, anything could go wrong, there's just stuff going on, and we have, childhood can be challenging. And I've lost my trail of thought there.
Yeah, of course. You like you need like grown-ups to like regulate the child. And the grown-ups also need to be safe, of course.
Yeah,
And,
so
and
sorry,
yeah,
that's it. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so basically oh God, I've lost it again.
yeah, and I also think like the grown-ups need to
Hmm.
have like an society environment where they can be safe. Like
Yeah,
they don't lose their house, they don't lose their job, they have friends, they have people that support them, they have also
yeah,
the grown-ups need to be in a safe environment for themselves to create a
hmm.
safe environment for their children, of course.
Definitely.
And I think like many parents, they act like they're safe
Hmm.
towards their children, but they are not really safe in their body.
Yes.
And the children picks up on this level, of course, in the
Yeah,
nervous system, as you said, like osmosis.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it makes total sense, right?
Yeah,
You think
makes
like if
total sense. Yeah, of course.
if we're in a tribe and a snake comes into the village, into our area, mum's holding us.
Yeah,
Baby sees the snake. Mum reacts with tension and fear. Baby learns snake. That's dangerous based on the stress. So we
yeah.
kind of we're mapping out the safety of the world based on our parents' nervous systems. And
I yeah.
just while it's fresh in my mind, I remember now what I was going to say. The reason why we s- why we want to do things that stimulate our nervous system and create more stress is like because stress is good for survival.
Mm,
So if we've got unconscious beliefs that the world's a bit dangerous,
mm,
then we're going to want to remain stressed
mm.
to stay alert and keep an eye out for what's around the corner.
And probably also almost defend the stress state.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course you have to be vigilant and watch out, and people are such and such and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, you like intellectually also defend
Yeah.
the state.
Definitely, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, 100%.
yeah. Mm,
Yeah. I mean, it becomes a part of someone's identity. It's who they are. However they're reacting to the world. If they're stressed, that becomes a part of who they are. It's their personality.
mm.
And for a lot of people, they remain stressed because that's just how what they think life is.
Mm, mm,
You know, someone you might know someone who is judgmental towards other people and is constantly complaining and moaning. You know,
mm,
that becomes a part of that person's identity.
mm,
But in reality, it's just an expression of a stressed nervous system.
mm, mm,
It's an expression of unsafety
mm, mm,
because that when we have a safe nervous system, when we're not in stress and fight or flight and survival mode, we naturally open up to other people and ideas and we can connect more. We're not we're not like quick to react all the time.
mm. So do you do any daily practices, like grounding practices, meditation practices?
Yeah, so movement's a big one for me. So I want to make sure I'm moving every day. If I can go for start my day with a run, that would be quite good.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, I like to do qigong when I can.
Mm,
Um, Meditation's like the main one. I
mm,
try and meditate. Well, I will meditate for about 20 minutes a day,
yeah,
usually in the morning as well.
yeah.
And embodiment, that's the main one, which essentially is like bringing consciousness away from the mind and into the body, which is
Mm,
what we did a lot on that workshop.
yeah.
Um, in order to bring states of deeper presence and in order to regulate the nervous system and find an element of calm.
Mm,
And then, I mean, this embodiment goes so deep, but yeah, like if I can spend half an hour sitting down on a chair, like awakening the sensations down my back and then down the front of my body where I feel emotions, and then maybe balancing out the two. So I'm feeling down my back and down my front
mm,
and just breathing and just witnessing really. And
mm,
then noticing how I can shift into different feeling states as I do that.
mm,
And then noticing how ideas might come to me for my next step, where to go in life. Um, yeah, there's a lot can happen. But yeah, and then on top of that, the grounding work as well. So I'll try and spend each day a fair amount of time bringing that consciousness, that awareness into my legs. So I'll be feeling the sensations of my legs
mm,
and then feeling my feet on the ground,
mm,
maybe sending roots down into the ground, um, in order to really like connect with the earth as much as I can. And really that one that grounding is I probably wouldn't be on YouTube now if it wasn't for the work I've been doing on grounding.
mm,
I wouldn't be able to be on this podcast now and talk in the way that I'm talking if it wasn't for the grounding work that I've been doing.
mm,
Like I would be thinking too much about saying the right thing, caring. My mind would be getting drawn to people who might be watching this and what they're thinking of me and what
yeah.
you were thinking of me. And that's all just coming from my mind, right? But through daily embodiment and grounding practices, I'm less up in my head.
Mm,
And when I do go up into my head, I can spot it quicker than I could. And then I've got the choice of bringing it back down so I don't have to remain up in my head. I can bring a sense of calm, more, way more calm than I used to have. And it happened 5 minutes ago. Remember when I lost my trail of thought
mm,
and I went up into my head. I was like, oh shit. I had these thoughts about what people might be thinking about me forgetting what I'm talking about. Oh, he can't be that great at this stuff. He doesn't know he forgot. And then I said, oh, I remember now. And then I forgot it again.
uh,
That was me up in my head.
uh,
That's why I forgot I didn't have that flow because I was thinking about the people watching.
uh, uh,
So that's come up once in
one
this
hour,
hour
one
chat.
hour. Yeah, yeah. That's
And
it's strange, like how just the mind just pops in with thoughts like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
in
very, very
reality,
common, of course.
it's very common. Of course, we're all
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That in the past that would have been how I would have spent the entire time. The last podcast I did, which was about 2 years ago, I couldn't talk in the way that I'm talking now, that's for sure.
You
Um,
actually you seem very, very calm and grounded, I think.
hmm,
Yeah, very.
yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean you do too.
Yeah,
You
thanks.
definitely got embodied presence. I can feel it from you for sure, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Um, yeah. And so when I caught myself up in my head and the thoughts were there about what people might think,
Mm.
right? And I feel this is really important. Um, what the old way of operating would have been to then continue to think about what people might think. Oh, you fucked it up now. Blah 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 blah. Just more and more, and then you're just following this trail of bullshit thoughts that are just stressing your body out more and like sending out survival emotions. And but no, you catch it, bring yourself back down into the body, let
Mm.
that shit go.
Mm. Mm.
Because in reality, like there's no one listening to this right now.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's you
Yeah,
and me
yeah,
chatting. There's
yeah.
no one listening to this right now. So I'm going off into a make-believe land. I mean, sure, people will listen to this.
Mm.
Right now, what's real? It's just you and me having a chat.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
No, I can. That's not too scary.
So you are consciously in the moment when you notice like a thought that's like popping up. You consciously in the moment like go back and like root that in
Root
the
it back down.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, stress pulls us out of our bodies
yeah,
into our heads.
yeah.
You, yeah, going back to a tribe who's under threat. There is activation up in the head, right? We've got
Mm.
to we got to think about how to survive, how to get out of this situation for our survival.
Yeah.
We use our eyes to look around for a threat. We listen out for a threat.
Mm.
There's a lot of activity up here
Mm.
now, and this is also quite interesting. So our bodies and our unconscious mind, and our unconscious doesn't really have a location, but I kind of put it here because we
Mm.
got the prefrontal cortex, the reasoning part of our mind, and then we got so the unconscious is the part of our mind that remembers every single event that's ever happened to us, and it's remembered it to know to avoid certain events in the future for our survival. So when we're in a threatening situation, the unconscious can send out cortisol, adrenaline, whatever emotions, survival emotions is needed in order to survive. That's kind of how it works.
Mm.
So yeah, I've forgotten what I was talking about again.
Yeah. Yeah, just how like the how we like create thoughts that may like spiral into anxiety. Maybe if we like
Yeah,
just start to continue on that thought train, and
yeah,
I think like that's actually what anxiety is. In like, if you think about it, you get a thought and like the mind trying to like solve that problem, blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah blah blah, and you get like all the way, you get so stressed out
yeah,
that it creates so much like cortisol, adrenaline, stuff in the body,
yeah,
and that actually is what anxiety is really.
yeah,
And of
yeah,
course,
definitely,
that can
man.
turn to depression when you like get more like fatigued, tired, blah 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 blah. That can be like
Mm,
also a depression state coming out of that just
yeah,
mind stuff, you know.
yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and the body and the unconscious is always in the present moment. It only
Mm.
knows only knows the now.
Mm.
So, a lot of our spiritual work is about finding presence.
Mm.
That the body is the anchor into the present moment. But
Mm.
the mind is can't really exist when we're present in the moment, our minds aren't really operating, right?
Mm. Mm.
So our mind lives in the past and the future.
Yeah.
So and the unconscious mind, our nervous system, doesn't know the difference between a real event and an imagined event. So when we go through life constantly thinking about the past all the things that happen to us, our past identities, all the limiting stories, the blame, all of that. We're we're thinking about it, and the unconscious thinks that shit's happening now
mm,
because the unconscious only exists in the present moment. So every time we think about shit that doesn't that went wrong or isn't wasn't good for us, our unconscious thinks it's happening now
mm,
again,
mm.
which is why it's still firing out the survival emotions that keep us feeling shit.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we think about the future, we fear what's around the corner
Mm,
because we're focused on what happened in the past, so that might happen again.
mm,
And then our unconscious thinks that what our imagined future is happening now.
mm,
And so it's sending out more cortisol and adrenaline and
mm.
fear. And so it makes it even harder to manifest and create.
Mm. That's like the blessing and the curse with the mind. It's of course
Yeah.
it's of course a blessing because we can do like this abstract thinking. We can create stuff with our mind and like make a projection into the future. I want to build this house. I want to travel there. Blah 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 blah. But
Mm.
like we can also project fears, of course.
Yeah.
It's like the double-edged sword of the mind. It's like a
Yes.
blessing because we have like this amazing ability to create abstract things.
Yeah.
But we can also like create fears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like how to like master the mind, how to use the mind as
Yeah.
positive as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like the I think it's a book that's called The Master and the Emissary,
Okay.
where
That's
like
interesting.
it talks about like in the Western culture, like we have been so intellectualized that we have
Yeah.
like so much focus in the thinking mind, while we like maybe should use more focus in like the present moment
Mm.
consciousness, you know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah, I think
So
it's a
true.
British author actually.
Is that?
British author, The Master and the Emissary, I think.
Okay. There's a
Yeah.
few, was it written kind of early part of the 1900s?
I know, I think it's a bit newer.
Okay.
Maybe 1990s or
Oh,
something
okay.
like that. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
There's a lot of books that were written, it was known as the New Thought movement.
Yeah.
And the New Thought movement was like, it was coming out of Christianity, but it was more of a spiritual look at life rather than coming from a religious perspective. But it was
Mm.
all about manifestation,
Yeah.
all about creating reality using our mind.
Yeah.
When we think about it, what manifestation is, I mean, what we're talking about now is like, so you are here. So if people are listening to this now, like they can maybe look at something that they want to achieve in life, but they don't seem to be able to quite achieve it, right?
Mm.
So why not? Why aren't they taking steps out into the world in order to create that better life for themselves? Well, it's the survival emotions that are coming up in the pursuit of it.
Mm.
So why are the survival emotions coming up in the pursuit of what they want?
Mm.
Because their unconscious has been fed stories that what they want isn't safe.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the
Mm.
path to get it isn't safe, which might mean being real and authentic or earning money when we live with people that think wealthy people are bad or that we've got beliefs that wealthy people are bad. I mean, there's just so many stories in our head
Yeah.
that are going to fire off the uncomfortable emotions when we head towards what we want. And so how is that not evidence of the fact we're creating it? We're creating our struggles, we're creating everything that we don't like about our lives based on our imagination and our thoughts that's going into our unconscious. So we're just feeding our unconscious every day bad negative thoughts. It's going into the unconscious just firing off the emotions and the hormones that make us avoid the thing that we want.
Mm.
But if we so rather than and where most people fall short is they just wish that they had the thing. So they just hang back, oh, I really want it. I
Mm.
really want that thing, but I don't deserve it or I can't have it. the unconscious is like, okay, yeah, sure, continue wanting it, and you just create more of the wanting.
Mm.
And often what we'll do is we'll think about having the thing and something might go wrong. Maybe like if we're not in a relationship, we want a relationship. And then we imagine being in one. And then our thoughts go to getting cheated on or being rejected.
Mm.
The unconscious is going to be like, oh,
Mm.
okay, well, yeah, I'm
Mm.
not going to let you get into a relationship
Yeah.
because that rejection's painful, right? So we'll
Mm.
avoid it. But if we can imagine the thing we want, if we can go into our imagination, remembering that the unconscious thinks doesn't know the difference between real or an imagined event. So we go into our imagination, we imagine a relationship going well and going beautifully, and we're in that relationship, we're grounded, we're in love, we're not attached. It's a healthy relationship. And we're doing that whilst breathing gently and deeply into our bellies. Our unconscious is going to start not only not only will it think that that's happening now, but it's going to see it as a safe experience.
Mm.
And then now when we step towards a relationship, our unconscious, instead of being like, oh fuck, we might get rejected, it's going to be like we've fed it enough conditioning to see it as a safe thing.
Mm.
Now we're free to just naturally float, naturally kind of walk into that experience.
Yeah, so you
That
like change the emotional charge of that,
basically,
yeah, that vision.
yeah,
Yeah. Mm.
yeah. So really, like manifestation is kind of an effortless thing. You can get two people, say you got one guy, two guys both want a relationship. One guy will just meet a woman, let's say, introduce himself, boom, they're in a relationship. This guy can never quite do it. And he will look at this guy who's doing it effortlessly and just really wish that he could manifest that. So he'll be doing this guy here will be doing the manifestation work in order to get what this guy's got. But this guy won't think that he's manifested it.
Mm.
He's like, oh no, I just go and have it.
Mm.
But that is manifestation.
Mm.
We just label manifestation onto things that we don't have.
Mm.
We can want a burger and then we go to the shop and we
Mm.
just get a burger. We've manifested that
Mm.
because we
Mm.
just go and take it. So
Mm.
we can manifest anything we want based on, and it's not like you just hang about at home and wait for like a Ferrari in the garage.
Mm.
So you can manifest a Ferrari. Say you don't have any money and you want a Ferrari. Well, you can just get up, start a business, earn the money, go buy the Ferrari without any stress whatsoever. And based on your internal world, essentially. But
Mm.
for most of us, there's so much uncomfortability in doing that that we don't get the Ferrari.
Mm. Mm.
But for the people that can get the Ferrari, it's almost a bit effortless. They just go and do it.
Mm.
But
And that's like probably also like what kind of section of society you're coming from. If you're coming from like a very rich part of society, it's very natural to have a big expensive car, big apartment.
yeah,
Like of course that's like normal, blah
that's
blah 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 blah.
yeah,
But
that's
for a
just
guy,
part of life.
but for a guy that's coming from a poor neighborhood, that's like totally. It feels maybe way out of reach.
Way
But
out
like
of
both
reality.
both people are human beings that have somehow the possibility to
Yeah,
create new yeah, possibilities in their life.
yeah,
But like they live like in somehow in different worlds
yeah.
where like the car, the apartment is like totally normal for the one guy. And like, of course,
Mm.
I'm gonna earn 1 million pounds a year. Of course,
Yeah,
of course, of course.
yeah,
And the other guy is like super happy with like 20,000 quids or yeah, you know.
yeah.
So that's like
Totally, man.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like if I was born into millionaire parents, I'm sure I would be a millionaire now.
yeah. Born a millionaire. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or but yeah, I've been born into a millionaire family, but I'd probably have a job
yeah.
that
The
could
mindset.
make Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
just naturally you go into that.
yeah,
I'll go to a school with other kids from wealthy
yeah,
families.
yeah,
It's just in our
yeah,
nervous system, you know. It's in
yeah.
our
Very,
conditioning.
very interesting. I would
Mm.
love to talk more about this maybe on a different podcast, like the connection between like our ability to manifest and
Yeah, man.
and like challenges in like the structural society. But we can maybe take that on a
Yeah.
different time. But I think that's like a very interesting intersection
Mm.
when we like talk about what we can manifest, like create, like maybe podcast, maybe work, maybe relationships,
Mm.
stuff like that. But also like look at the cultural like possibilities and hindrances, like maybe some like the fears as well. That's like
Mm.
integrated in the culture,
Mm. Definitely, man.
like the fear of like sticking out, the conformity. What
Mm.
are like, because I think those fears are a bit different from culture to culture.
Yeah.
Maybe England and Norway is quite similar, but there's probably
Mm.
also a bit differences, I would
Mm.
think.
No doubt.
If
Yeah.
do you agree with that? That like different cultures have like maybe different like ways of holding people or like regulating
Yeah.
like the fears somehow?
Yeah. I would say, I mean, different cultures are either supporting or not
Yeah.
supporting of fears and uncomfortable emotions and
Yeah.
authentic really like a child has the confidence to run a bit of children are like perfect manifestors. A
Mm,
child could start a business
mm,
and the only thing stopping it is it just doesn't have the intelligence yet.
mm,
But in terms of the confidence, it hasn't really experienced failure.
mm, mm,
So it just has the confidence just to go do it.
mm,
Like you look at a little child who walks into a room and everyone looks at the child, and the child is like open energy, like focused on the what has no thought about what people might be thinking of him, and so he's not closing down to the world. He's like opening up
mm,
like that, and he just walks into this room without any fear.
mm,
That's kind of how we want to walk out into the world and create our dreams is from like an open front, just like, yeah, just enjoying the present moment because
mm,
everything's okay.
mm,
So we've got we've got it within us to do it because we
mm,
did when we were kids.
mm,
And it's
mm,
like also um, if you give a child a superhero outfit and you say, go be Superman, the child doesn't like hang around really wanting to be Superman. There's no wanting energy, no emotion of like desire and lust. It just becomes Superman. It's like put on the outfit, go flying through the room, I'm Superman.
mm,
Yet we want to kind of apply that to our lives when it comes to stepping out of our comfort zone and really creating something different. We want to tap into that inner superhero.
mm,
But instead of just being Superman, we just really want it.
mm,
And so
mm,
we want it because so wanting implies I can't have. It's beliefs that we don't feel we're not ready, we're not deserving, we can't
mm,
do it, we're not capable. So
mm,
instead of having and being, we want. And
mm,
the wanting is of a heavier energy. It's a lower level of consciousness and it's linked to the stress state because it's
mm,
a survival emotion. So instead, we just want it and we're like, oh, I really wish I had that.
mm,
But all we got to do is like let that wanting go and step into having and being, which is another manifestation to us, feeling as if
mm.
they're going out and creating from that energy.
And then that's also maybe despite the fear. You might maybe feel the fear,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
just do it anyways.
Yeah. The fear's still going to
Yeah,
come up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then the
yeah,
fear again is the stress response, right?
yeah. I actually,
More,
yeah, sorry.
well, the more we're able to bring ourselves out of stress, the better we can deal with fear.
Yeah, yeah. And that we can do with like different practices like grounding.
Yeah.
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 I
Perfect.
I just there was like a quote from Stephen Pressfield. who wrote
Ah, lovely book.
The War of Art.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just he talked about the athlete is never going to be pain free.
Mm,
He has to play hurt.
mm,
So like despite the pain, despite the fear, you
yeah,
still play.
yeah,
You still live.
yeah, man.
I think
Yeah,
that's like
I love
such a
that.
powerful quote.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Instead of like waiting to become like pain free,
Yeah,
we just live.
just do it despite the pain.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, that's
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, and the pain's where we grow.
Mm,
We want that.
mm,
We want to, I feel like, especially as men, because a lot of the coaching work, not all, but most of the coaching work I do is with men. And it's about, when we look at tribes, they often have this initiation from boy to manhood.
mm.
Teenage years is apparently it only started in the 50s, the idea of being a teenager, right?
Yeah, yeah, right. With
The,
Elvis and that stuff.
right, I didn't know about Elvis.
Yeah, like that pop culture.
Ah,
Yeah, like
interesting.
Coca-Cola, Elvis, all those. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
Right. So yeah, there's
yeah.
this few year gap of going from childhood to adulthood. But in that, we're not like we're not being helped through the traumas of our childhood. So
Mm,
we can enter adulthood from a place of health
mm.
and yeah.
Yeah,
So
the rites of passage.
rites of passage, yeah, the hero's
Yeah,
journey. So you
yeah.
could have a boy that has to go into the jungle for 30 days and 30 nights.
Mm,
And in that, there's gonna things are gonna go wrong. He's gonna have to rely on himself
mm,
to look after himself.
mm,
Essentially, is bringing him out of stress and fear and into regulation.
mm.
And he starts to see that he has the power within him to provide safety,
Yeah.
provide comfort. And then he comes back to the village. He gets to stand with the men, and
Mm,
he's able to protect the village because
mm.
he knows how to protect himself.
Yeah, he kind of discovered his own power,
Yeah,
probably. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So this work of like going, what I love helping people with is like stepping out into the world, out of their comfort zone. And when the stories and the uncomfortable emotions that used to send them back home into safety, when that comes up,
yeah. Back to mom.
yeah, back to mum, this is their opportunity to learn how to regulate out of those states, bring more calm, ground it out, essentially, really just bringing it down through the body.
Yeah,
Now there's a whole new area of life you can explore because your nervous system feels safe.
yeah, yeah. So you offer coaching services?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I do.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So if anyone's interested in working one-on-one, you can get hold of me. So the men's men's coaching website is masculine-evolution.com.
yeah,
There's masculine-evolution.com. You can reach out to me via the website. There's a page where you can just put your email address and a message, and I can reach out to you from that.
yeah,
Um, I'm on YouTube mostly. That's the main area that I do my socials work. So I've got videos that go out maybe 3 to 5 times a week, sometimes
mm,
more.
yeah.
That's just going on YouTube, putting in masculine evolution. Um, yeah.
Do you still do the workshops weekly on Thursdays?
The work, yeah, I'm doing a workshop at the moment. It's on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can send you a link for
Yeah,
the weekly
uh,
workshops.
yeah. I will put the links in the description below.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm looking to bring this work to corporate. So I'm starting a new company. It's called Inner Resilience,
Oh, really?
and
Yeah,
it's
cool.
about bringing these practices to the workplace, but delivering it in a way that's not too mystical. But I like the idea of bridging the gap between Eastern mysticism and Western neuroscience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think people nowadays they're not so judgmental towards these things. but if I can deliver it in a more of a scientific way, it's gonna people are gonna see like the benefits. You know, the benefits of being grounded and embodied at work is huge,
Yeah.
and I feel like it can really like change things.
Yeah, I think many people would be open for that kind of coaching.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone is interested in that, they can reach out via the Masculine Evolution website and
Yeah.
yeah,
I will put all the links in the description below.
nice man.
And thank you very much, Dan, for a
Thanks,
very,
Hakon. It's
very
been
good
great.
chat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah. It's been really cool.
So how is the weather in Brighton?
It's pretty cloudy, overcast, bit grey. It's
Yeah.
been like this for quite a few days now. I can't remember the last time I saw the sun.
Yeah, here it's actually a bit sunny today.
Is
And
it?
yeah, I think
You look like you got a bit of light coming in there.
yeah, for the next few days as well. But it's quite
Nice.
cold here. It's like minus five
Is that
yeah degrees Celsius.
we're about 5 degrees, but it's a very moist cold.
Yeah,
So it like gets into your bones.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not the most pleasant, but after being in Thailand for 2 years, I'm kind of enjoying the cold weather.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I'm more geared up. I mean, I my DNA is North Europe, right?
yeah.
So my
Actually,
favorite weather is like blue sky in spring. So I
yeah.
don't care about the warmth, but as long as the sky's blue, sun's out.
That helps a lot. Just to see the sun.
Yeah, like I prefer a sunny winter's day than a sunny summer's day, I
Oh,
think.
really? Really?
Yeah, just as long as it's not, it's fine if it's a bit cold, but if there's no wind and the sun's out,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, yeah.
But like a hot, stuffy summer's day, I sweat a lot and like it's not
Yeah, I
like
say like above 25 degrees Celsius.
yeah,
That's a bit much for me. Maybe 30 is okay, but about that, that's really too hot
yeah,
for me.
yeah, man, yeah, I
But
hear you.
when we returned from Bangkok, when we met you in Thailand,
Yeah,
there was like plus 40 in Bangkok and
that's
minus
crazy.
20 here. So it was like 50, 60 degrees difference. So I was
Wow.
like so cold the first week. I was cold into the bones.
Yeah, I bet you were, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's such a huge difference
yeah. So
from
when
30 to minus 20.
yeah. So when are you going back to Thailand, you think?
I'm not sure, mate, to be honest with you, because this work with corporates might keep me here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, keep me
Yeah,
in the UK and Europe.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I've
would
got,
love to hear how that goes.
yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, yeah, I've got, I had a very clear vision of living in a camper van in Canada for like just a month or two. So I want to do that soon. I want to like go to Canada with no plans
Oh,
and just have a camper van and just go drive and see what experiences I can have. That's and my YouTube channel's getting close to being monetized.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, so if I can like set up before I go, so if I go away for a month and I just set up, record enough videos to be going out when I'm out there, and then I can record a bunch of new ones when I'm out there.
I will follow that journey for sure.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the idea of it. That's a manifestation thing as well, right? So I was lying in bed and it just the idea came to me and this like inner warmth just washed through me. And I was just, oh wow, just going from town to town, meeting new people, living in the wilderness,
Wow.
the lakes, the mountains, the forests. Oh yeah. It felt so good. I was like, oh well, it's done.
That sounds like a great adventure.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
very much looking forward to it.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks, brother.
And I would love to talk to you again at
Yeah,
some
just
point.
reach out. Let me know
Yeah.
when you're ready.
Yeah, and I would also like to just attend one of your workshops soon.
Sure, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I'm starting to charge now.
Yeah.
They're not free, but
Yeah.
I'll be yeah. So let me know and I can bring it down a bit for you.
Sure. Thanks, man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've been like I've not. I've been offering too much for free.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm starting to um charge more for my work because I know how powerful it can be.
Yeah, and that's very good. And one needs an income, and it's like very good if you can make an income out of doing this work. That would
Yeah,
be
man.
awesome. Just both with the YouTube channel and your coaching and workshops and
Definitely.
everything. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just around the corner.
Great. Thank you very much, Dan.
Yeah, pleasure, brother.